Well, good morning. Welcome to Daily Videos with me, Pastor Michelle. Today is Wednesday, February 10th, and let's get started with some prayer. Our Father and Mother, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. Sorry, I was looking over at just all our games and things here in our basement. Well, good morning, my friends. We got a lot of snow this yesterday and Monday. So it's nice to be home today. It's nice, actually. I'm pre-recording these, so it's actually technically Tuesday. But so it's nice to have a day off today, and just kind of give myself my own snow day. So anyway, I hope everyone's doing okay. It is, I love snow. I don't like driving in it. So Monday I didn't realize how much it was going to snow. And my wife told me we were going to get 3 to 5 inches. But when I hear that, I always think, oh yeah, we'll be lucky to get even half an inch, because it's hard for me to believe weather reports when it comes to snow. But yes, we definitely did get 3 to 5, more toward 5. It was hellish driving home from work on Monday night. It was scary. But anyway, let's dive right into the book of James and a reading from that. Just wanted to share just wanted to ramble a little bit. So, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of any kind, consider it nothing but joy, because you know that the testing of your faith produces endurance, and let endurance have its full effect, so that you may be mature and complete, lacking in nothing. God's love note. I do not want you to suffer, and yet I know that in this life there will be suffering. From the earliest days of my people, and from the earliest days of the church, following my ways has resulted in suffering, because following me means rejecting the greed and violence and materialism and self-centeredness that this world fosters. And people who find a better path engage those propping up the current system. So enrage those propping up the current system. So when you find that better path, when you choose to follow my ways, the world may seek to punish you as it has previous generations of faithful people. Don't be arrogant and boastful, and do not act as if you are being mistreated. Instead, reflect on how following me can help you meet some beautiful sojourners on this path with you, so that you do not have to journey alone, and that you are never alone when you are with me. And I love that. We are never alone. And the thing I like to remember too is the power of church, and the power of it to be a community of people to support us along the way, because we're all let me play it again. We're all trying to figure this stuff out, right? There's so much mystery in life, and especially God. God itself is a mystery that we'll never be able to solve. And, church is the opportunity for us to be with people and to journey through life together. So anyway, that's just my 2 cents. Just wanted to share that. So let's dive right into some humans, Some humans of New York. So this guy says, I've struggled with my weight my whole life. When I was 21, I decided I wanted to be skinny. I thought it was going to bring me love, happiness, everything I wanted. I barely ate. I exercised 3 times a day. I got down to 130 pounds, and I was more miserable than ever. I hated myself. And after that, I gave up on trying to be thin. Now I've gotten to the point where I have to lose weight again, but this time for my health. And he asks, are you lonely? And he says, it's been a lifetime of loneliness. I decided early on that I better get used to it. I go to the movies by myself. If the movie theater is completely empty, I'm even happier. I learned early that if I wanted to go to restaurants, I better learn to go by myself. One benefit of being big is that people don't bother you. I'm shocked that you came up to me. Nobody's ever done that. When I started to go to therapy, it took me several sessions before I even spoke a word. I'd just sit there and cry. And honestly, you caught me on a tough day. I was sitting here really feeling bad about myself, because I went to the doctor today and I was told that I'd lost weight, and I hoped I would be told that I lost weight, but I actually gained some. That's, what I love about this book, and just the author or the photographer, he goes up to these people and just asks for their stories. He doesn't try to like solve anything. He just asks for them to share part of their life story. And I think it's beautiful. He doesn't try to change these people. He doesn't try to give his opinions on what they tell him. He's just simply there to listen. So I think it's a beautiful, I just love the Humans of New York, the idea behind it. So I do have my Kindle, so we're able to dive right into another hero in the LGBTQIA plus community. And so another hero, today's featured hero is K.C. Potter, and he's associated with Vanderbilt University. So he was born in 1939 in Kentucky. He attended Berea College, then earned his law degree at Vanderbilt, graduated in 1964. But he didn't think he'd be worth a damn as a lawyer. So when Vanderbilt offered him a job as assistant dean of men, he took it. He would stay at Vandy until his retirement some 36 years later. Known to many as the Harvard of the South, Vanderbilt in the 60s and 70s was deeply conservative and very hostile to any hint of gay activity. As AIDS emerged in the 1980s and only got worse, against this backdrop, in 1987, K.C. Potter took the first steps to create safe places for gay students on campus. And later, when Vanderbilt's fledgling gay rights group began organizing in support of formal university non-discrimination policy, K.C. advocated for congregational-style hearings to develop a policy bringing gay and lesbian students before the Board of Trustees to testify about their campus experiences. The students helped win the board over, and Vanderbilt was forever changed. During his tenure at Vanderbilt, K.C. could not come out himself as a gay man. That would change once he retired. So that's great. I mean, it's kind of sad that he wasn't able to come out while he was at Vanderbilt. But it says shortly after K.C.'s retirement in 1998, he met his partner, Richard Patrick, and began his first real relationship. Today, they live together on a farm in Hickman County, Tennessee. But for K.C.'s, when they interviewed him in this book, it only seemed fitting for him to return to Vanderbilt, so to the office of the LGBTQI Life, which is housed in a stately brick building called the K.C. Potter Center. Well, that's wonderful. So I actually went to undergrad at Cedarville University, and there was definitely no LGBT support group or groups for that, like that at all. I was actually, as I've shared in my story, over the summer, I was in therapy and counseling the whole time I was at Cedarville for my lifestyle and for my sinful thoughts, because I struggled. I didn't come out right away. I didn't come out till I was 24, I think. It was, I just remembering those first 24 years of my life, it especially like 12 years old and on. It was a lot of heartache, because when you're maturing and growing to be who you're supposed to be, and you grew up in this church where, you hear over and over again that gays and lesbians will go to hell, and here you are struggling with your sexuality. I spent a lot of years terrified of going to hell. But now, I'm 37. I don't believe in hell. So, things have changed, and I'm happily out. I'm happily a lesbian woman married to a beautiful woman. So it does get better. Anyway, I could ramble on and on, but let's dive right into Mockingjay, shall we? We go outside into the large fenced-in training area, Gale and Katniss. Guards open the well-oiled gates without comment. We would be hard-pressed to get past its fence on our own, 30 feet high and always buzzing with electricity, topped with razor-sharp curls of steel. We move through the woods until the view of the fence has been obscured. In a small clearing, we pause and drop back our heads to bask in the sunlight. I turn in a circle, my arms extended at my sides, revolving slowly so as not to set the world spinning. The lack of rain I saw in 12 has damaged the plants here, leaving some with brittle leaves, building a crunchy carpet under our feet. We take off our shoes. Mine don't fit right anyway, since in the spirit of waste not, want not that rules 13, I was issued a pair someone had outgrown. Apparently one of us walks funny because they're broken and all wrong. They're broken in all wrong. We hunt, silent, needing no words to communicate, because here in the woods, we move as two parts of one being, anticipating each other's movements, watching each other's backs. How long's it been? 8 months? 9? Since we had this freedom. It's not exactly the same, given all that's happened, and the trackers on our ankles, and the fact that I have to rest so often, but it's about as close to happiness I think I can currently get. The animals here are not nearly suspicious enough. That extra moment it takes to place our scent means their death. And in an hour and a half, we've got a mixed dozen, rabbits, squirrels, and turkeys, and decide to knock off to spend the remaining time by a pond that must be fed by an underground spring, since the water's cool and sweet. When Gail offers to clean the game, I don't object. I stick a few mint leaves on my tongue, close my eyes, and lean back against a rock, soaking in the sounds, letting the scorching afternoon sun burn my skin, almost at peace until Gail's voice interrupts me. Katniss, why do you care about your prep team? I open my eyes to see if he's joking, and I say, why shouldn't I? Let's see, because they've spent the last year prettying you up for slaughter. It's more complicated than that. I know them. They're not cruel or evil. They're not even smart. Hurting them, it's like hurting children. They don't see. They don't know. I get knotted up in my words. They don't know what, Katniss? That tributes, or the actual children involved here, not your trio of freaks, are forced to fight to the death. That you were going into the arena for people's amusement. Was that a big secret in the Capitol? No. But they don't view it the way we do, I say. They're raised on it. And are you actually defending them, Gale says? He slips the skin from the rabbit in one quick move. That stings because I am, and it's ridiculous. I struggle to find a logical position. I guess I'm defending anyone who's treated like that for taking a slice of bread. Maybe it reminds me too much of what happened to you over a turkey. He's right. It does seem strange, my level of concern over the prep team. I should hate them. I want to see them strung up, but they're so clueless, and they belong to Cena. And he was on my side, right? I'm not looking for a fight, but I don't think Coin was sending you some big message by punishing them for breaking the rules. She probably thought you'd see it as a favor. He stuffs the rabbit into the sack and rises. We better get going if we want to make it back on time. I ignore his offer of a hand up and get to my feet. Fine. Neither of us talks on the way back, but once we're inside the gate, I think it's something else. During the quarter quell, Octavia and Flavius had to quit because they couldn't stop crying over me going back in, and Vinia could barely say goodbye. I'll try and keep that in mind as they remake you, Gale says. Do, I say. We hand the meat over to Greasy Say in the kitchen. She likes 13 well enough, even though she thinks the cooks are somewhat lacking in imagination. But a woman who came up with a palatable wild dog and rhubarb stew is bound to feel as if her hands are tied here. Exhausted from hunting and my lack of sleep, I go back to my compartment to find it stripped bare, only to remember we've been moved and find compartment E. It looks exactly like compartment 307, except for the window, centered at the top of the outside wall. There's a heavy metal plate that fastens over it, but now it's propped open and a certain cat is nowhere to be seen. I stretch out on my bed and a shaft of afternoon sunlight plays on my face. The next thing I know, my sister is waking me up for 1800 reflection. Prim tells me they've been announcing the assembly since lunch. The entire population, except those needed for essential jobs, is required to attend. We follow directions to the collective, a huge room that easily holds the thousands who show up. You can tell it was built for large gatherings, and perhaps it held one before the pox epidemic. Prim quietly points out the widespread fallout from that disaster. The pox scars on people's bodies, the slightly disfigured children. They've suffered a lot here, she says. All right, my friends. God bless you all. Stay safe out there.